Why switching to electric vehicles is fiscally imprudent. Read more factually wrong anti-EV opinions in the mainstream media. This seems like another paid, unverified anti-EV article. We seem to find many such articles these days in mainstream media. There are so many factual errors in the article that we don't even know where to start. The ex-showroom price of the Nexon EV starts at 13.99 lakhs and not 14.3 lakhs. Comparing the Nexon EV with the cheapest Nexon ICE variant seems to be a favorite pastime for EV cynics. Compare the Nexon EV with the petrol or diesel automatic, which cost 8.99 lakhs or 10.13 lakhs respectively. FAME 2 does not provide a subsidy for personal cars, and states like Delhi will provide a subsidy of rupees 1.5 lakhs for only 1,000 cars. Mr. Jha assumes that everyone who buys the Nexon EV will get a subsidy in perpetuity. Mr. Jha assumes that cheaper, smaller electric cars won't arrive in the Indian market. Experts like Mr. Jha say that ethanol and methanol are better for India, but they don't talk about the infrastructure needed to set up pumps. Electric vehicles need no major infrastructure. Every business and home has an electrical connection to charge EVs. Gasification of transport still won't solve the air and noise pollution in cities. Electric vehicles will solve both these issues immediately. The ICE vehicle and oil industry have hit a new low. Getting an 83-year-old journalist like Prem Shankar Jha to write factually wrong articles against electric vehicles is a new low for the fossil fuel industry. Shame on Indian Express for publishing such anti-EV articles. RC Bhargava says Maruti Suzuki is bullish on CNG as EV penetration in India is very small. Mr. Bhargava goes on saying that CNG-based small cars are good for India. Then why does Maruti continue to sell large petrol and diesel cars? How many small pure CNG cars has Maruti launched in recent years? The fact is, Maruti has launched more SUVs and large cars than small cars. India sources substantial amounts of its natural gas exports from Qatar. Generating CNG from imported natural gas is not a solution for India. While electricity can be made in India, Mr. Bhargava continues to have an anti-India stance by not launching electric cars. Ultimately, all this CNG business is just a diversion from Maruti's continued interest in selling large petrol and diesel guzzlers. As usual, Autocar India continues to be the PR of the ICE car industry and publishes whatever is told to them. Mahindra XUV700 will put all in trouble, says Times of India. So the Times of India says that the Mahindra XUV700 will put everyone in trouble. But the reality is that more and more large oil-guzzling SUVs like the XUV700 will get India into trouble with more air pollution and a huge drain on India's oil reserves. Mahindra should be ashamed of themselves for continuing to launch large oil guzzlers in the Indian market while there is zero news on launch of their EQV or XUV electric car. The acquisition of the Reva electric car company in 2010 was completed only to kill any sort of electric car momentum in India. The tweets by Anand Mahindra and the glowing reviews by the pollution vehicle media are frankly nauseating.
So thanks Abhishek for that very interesting EV gossip. And yes, I do feel a couple of things that I have to say over here is RC Bhargava is out of this world, man. He's living on some different planet. He talks about two-wheelers in his article over here where he says most of the vehicles sold in India are two-wheelers and they have lower emission standards, so they are polluting the country more, so you go after them. He's like kind of deflecting the government, deflecting all those people who care about the ecosystem to go after two-wheeler manufacturers and leave Maruti alone, which is basically a four-wheeler manufacturer, which is completely not true. You do need to pick up the loose ends. You need to develop good new technologies, and you can't just go on behaving like a dinosaur, keeping on those same oil, ICE vehicles, polluting vehicles on the road. So that's one thing. Another thing he talks about is the four-wheeler segment, where he says 77% of four-wheelers sold in India are small cars, and not many of them are EVs, so there's not much a demand. There's not much of a demand for electric vehicles which are small. So leave Maruti alone over there as well, because hey, we manufacture small cars which are CNG cars, and CNG is much cleaner than diesel and petrol. And somehow he has this feeling that importing CNG is okay, but importing oil and diesel is not. So it's an import anyway. importing natural gas to make CNG from. And if Maruti doesn't come up with four-wheeler electric vehicles, how are people going to get four-wheelers to buy? How will there ever be a market? How will there ever be any penetration unless you make them? So Maruti is the people's company. Most people want to buy Maruti cars. They can only afford Maruti cars. And the massive dealer distribution network that they've already got established in this country can very well be leveraged to manufacture brand new electric vehicles with good new technology and empower the people, help reduce our foreign exchange spending by not spending on CNG or petrol or diesel. So Mr. Bhargava, please give it another think. You can't just keep on being a dinosaur all the time. So guys, this is all just deflection. They are trying to avoid, there is an elephant in this room over here, and Maruti is just too blind to see it. We need either a change in management or the existing management needs to develop a better outlook to the world. The next thing that Abhishek talks about is the Mahindra XUV700. So these guys are continuing to chase big pollution, dirty gas guzzlers. Sad thing is they invested so much into EVs. They bought the right company. They were reporting losses for so many years, but they came in when the conversation on EV started and they've left just before it launched. So I'm very sorry to see that they've totally lost the first mover advantage. They've totally lost focus over there. EVs are the future and that's where they should have been concentrating. And they just went back to that whole ice mafia business of creating pollution gas guzzlers. There are so many hard-boiled petrol heads. I've seen them sit into a Nexon, ride a beautiful EV and totally get turned around by the sheer power, by the performance, by the ride comfort, by the ease of use. You know, it's mind-boggling. This is the time where minds are changing, heads are changing, hearts are changing. And where is Mahindra in this? Where are you, Mahindra? They've had a 10-year head start over all the other EV manufacturers and they have totally messed it up. And that's really disappointing.